Shalom from Interfaithfulness, where we're building bridges, where history builds walls. I'm Dr. Stuart Dowerman, and it's nice to meet you today. If you dust off the Bible that you have somewhere on your shelf that may have been given to you at the time of your bar mitzvah or some other time, and you crack it open to about the center of it, you'll find a big book called Psalms. And when you look in the book of Psalms, you find out that these people have a lot in common with you. They have a lot of problems with God, a lot of trouble believing in God in the crush of contrary circumstances. That's you, that's me. Making faith work in our lives is not an easy thing to do, and for some of us, we've kind of given up. For some of us, we're stuck, and for some of us, whatever faith we had has kind of slowed down and ground to a halt. Well, I want to help you today with some insights that are helping me, and hopefully we'll all be better off as a result. Let's start, first of all, from this quote from the letter to the Hebrews. It's in the Brit Hadashah, otherwise known as the New Testament. And the quotation says this: "The fundamental fact of existence is that trust in God, faith, is the firm foundation under everything that makes life worth living. It's our handle on what we can't see." And I add to this, what we cannot see, we cannot smell, taste, hear, feel, or sense. I had an insight the other day that sometimes, lately, I've been praying about certain things. I've been kind of depressed, low-grade depression. It's something that I've experienced most of my life. And I've been kind of stuck and hard to get out of bed, hard to get started in the morning. So I started to pray in the morning that God would help me to get something done and help me get moving. And then I would just go about things. And by the end of the day, I would realize, wait a minute, I got a lot accomplished today. But I did not feel the hand of God in the glove of circumstances. God works, but he's undetectable. He's detectable by his effects, but not in the process. There was a great rabbi named Ovadia Sforno who talked about the fact that when Moses was on top of Mount Sinai, he said to God, "Show me your glory." And God says, "I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You cannot see me head on. You can't see me with my brights because it's going to burn all your circuits." So he says, "I'll tell you what, I'll hide you in the cleft of this rock. I'm going to pass by, and you can see me after I've passed. You can see my taillights, so to speak." Well, Ovadia Sforno says it's a very interesting insight. He says, it reminds us that we don't experience God in the moment of his acting. We experience him after he's acted. We detect him afterwards. We realize, holy cow, it seems to me that God did something, but he wasn't detectable in the process. So the fundamental place where you have to start with faith is to recognize there's a God there you can't see, smell, touch, hear, sense, but he's the God of Israel. He's faithful to his promises, and he's there. You have to begin there. You have to begin where the Bible begins. In the beginning, God. So, that's one insight. Let's go on and build on that. This is from a fellow named William Temple. William Temple was an archbishop of the Anglican Church. He became the Archbishop of Canterbury, and a very bright man. He died in 1944, born about 1888. And he said, people said, I don't believe in prayer. And he says, that's interesting. He says, when I pray, coincidences happen. And when I don't, they don't. It was his way of saying, you may call it coincidence, but it's a funny thing. The coincidences happen more when I pray. And I can tell you in my own life, I don't detect God, and it's not like everything happens instantaneously. Don't believe anybody who says that to you. They must be smoking something. But when you pray, those coincidences happen more often. Good quote. Here's another good one. This one is from the brilliant and irreplaceable Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. He said, nor does the term mitzvot, commandments, express the totality of Judaism. He calls this religious behaviorism, where some people imagine that the whole meaning of Judaism is just do the right stuff no matter what you believe, no matter how you feel, just do the stuff. He says, no, it doesn't work that way. He says, the acceptance of God must precede and is distinguishable from the acceptance of the commandments. In other words, before you decide what commandments are we going to observe, more important than that, fundamental to that is, do you accept the fact that God exists? Do you accept your indebtedness to him? That is the starting place. And whoever you are out there, I'm challenging you and inviting you to accept the fact, in the beginning, God. God is out there somewhere. I don't know much about him. Maybe I've forgotten much I knew. Maybe I've violated much that I already knew. Whatever it is. But if your life of faith and your life of prayer is going to move anywhere, this is the starting place. In the beginning, God. The acceptance of God must precede and is distinguishable from the acceptance of the commandments. Don't start with the things you have to do. Start with the premise that God is there. Now here's another quote from Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 6. If you want to approach God, you must believe that he exists and that he cares enough to respond to you seeking him. That is worth its weight in diamonds, not gold, diamonds. If we want to approach God, we must believe that it exists, that's what I said before, and also that he cares enough to respond to us seeking him. That's the starting point. There's a lot of things about God I don't know. I don't understand. I can't figure out. Believe me, I'm not kidding you. But the starting point is to believe that he exists and that he cares enough to respond to us seeking him. Another translation says he rewards those who diligently seek him. In other words, it's not a waste of time to go chasing after God. I'm telling you that's true. That doesn't mean you always get what you want. It doesn't mean that God does everything you want when you want him to do it. And it doesn't mean you're always going to have good warm fuzzies. But it does mean that if you want to get moving from square one, you must believe that he exists and that he cares enough to respond to you seeking him. It says in the Torah, you will seek me and you will find me when you search for me with all your heart. The prophet Jeremiah repeated the same thought. God is not playing hide and go seek. He is playing seek. He wants us to seek him. Okay, let's see what else we got. This is from the book of Job. The book of Job expresses the same thought that we have in chapter 28. And this is just beautiful. He says, I go east, but he's not there. I go west, but I cannot find him. I do not see him in the north, for he is hidden. I look to the south, but he is concealed. No matter where I go, I can't locate God, but he knows where I am going. You may not be able to put your finger on where God is. You may not be able to figure what he's doing, but he knows what you're doing, and he's there. You just can't detect him. I'm sitting in a room right now that's full of radio waves and television waves, but without a radio or a television, they might as well not exist. I'm not built to detect it. Same way with us and God. So I want to close with this thought. In the beginning, God, the God of Israel. As our Jewish liturgy says in the Baruch She'amar, he's the God who says and does. He is the God who decrees and fulfills. He's the God who has mercy on all. That's where you start. So if you started today's video, today's Red Door Diary, if you started kind of stuck and run down, I hope I've helped you to get moving again, and that I've given you a handle on how to begin to exercise and access faith when you haven't got a prayer. We'll see you again. Bye-bye for now.